Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Welcome to today's Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses podcast. As you may have already guessed, I am not Frank Deming. My name is Beth Marciano, the Operations Manager at Local Business Marketing Solutions, or as we refer to fondly, LBMS. Today, we're flipping the script and interviewing our founder and CEO, Frank Deming, in honor of LBMS' 15th business anniversary. Now, Frank is on the hot seat. Without further ado, here's today's guest, Frank Deming. Hi, Frank.
Hey, Beth, thanks a lot for doing this. I got to tell you, being on this side of the hot seat puts me a little nervous, but that's okay.
That's okay. Well, we're going to use those nerves. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to start with, and you and I like talking sports. I'm going to start with a softball. What's a fun fact that our listeners may not know about you?
Fun fact. Let's see. Some of my networking buddies may know this about me, but my listeners probably don't know. Well, I grew up a Yankees fan, and I'm still a Yankees fan. Go Aaron Judge. Anywho, when I grew up, I used to always think that I was going to replace Willie Randolph as the second baseman.
That's awesome. Clearly that worked out.
Because I used to play second base when I was in Little League and, even through high school baseball and everything. But obviously I never replaced Willie Randolph.
No. But it's nice to have that kind of dream, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Speaking of dreaming, when you started LBMS 15 years ago, did you think you'd be here 15 years later?
That's a great question. I can tell you this. I can remember 15 years ago today walking into an M&T bank, because back then I was living in the DC area. And, because I got that letter, I got that letter from the IRS with my EIN number. So you needed that number to open up a bank account. And I can remember thinking, am I going crazy? I have a great job. What is this going to be? Do I think, going back to your question, do I think I was going to be here? I could tell you this. I had hoped I would be here 15 years later. I definitely hoped. Did I think I was going to? I don't know. I can't answer that. I can answer I had hoped.
So with hope, clearly there was a reason why you started LBMS. What inspired you to start LBMS, considering you just mentioned you had a great job to begin with?
Well, actually, my great job inspired me to start LBMS. Although it was a great job, it was a very time-sucking job. And I still remember there was a gentleman that I used to work for who was being let go. This was in 2005. And I couldn't believe he was being let go. I mean, this guy was the most dedicated worker there. And, other than myself. And when I saw him being let go, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And then the following year in 2006, during that Thanksgiving, I was supposed to go to New York. I was living in DC back then. I was supposed to go to New York, visit family. And I was called the Wednesday before saying I needed to be there the Friday after Thanksgiving because the government changed the specs on a proposal we were writing. And all hands on deck Friday. I'm like, but I'm going to be in New York. My boss said, I don't know, figure it out. So, and that really catapulted me into saying I got to start my own business. But, I didn't start off at LBMS. You know this already, but my audience may not know. I started out trying to teach small businesses how to do internet marketing so they could do it themselves, because I found out that it's expensive as heck to hire someone to do internet marketing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, why is it so expensive? Well, you can just do it yourself. Is look how easy it is. And then I also found out that if it's easy for me, only because I'm technically inclined, but it changes so often. And if you don't love technology, you can get really frustrated quick. So that's when I changed the model into a done for you service business as opposed to being I had like a coaching business. I would coach. My dream was to coach all these small businesses and teach them Google AdWords and teach them SEO and teach them all this stuff. No one wants to know that stuff. No one wants to learn it. That's what I found out the hard way.
Okay, so obviously things morphed a little bit, but
Yeah.
what has been the most surprising piece or event or just general information about the journey so far? What has surprised you the most?
How fast things change, how fast things become obsolete. When I started, I really didn't think it was going to be so different. I mean, literally, Beth. I mean, things could be great right now, and 6, 7 months later, it's not worth it anymore because another thing came out. So that's really what shocked me the most. I knew things would change, but I didn't think it would change that fast.
Now, are you talking more about processes in general, or are you talking about tools for LBMS specifically?
I'm talking about platforms. Where to find leads for clients. You know how quickly things change. Like recently, I remember just last year, Facebook came out with this rollout. Well, it wasn't really Facebook. It was Apple. They had this iOS 14, and it really impacted Facebook tremendously to the point of someone today was averaging, say, 20 leads per day. And then when they made this switch, if you wasn't on top of the change, you went to zero. So,
Oh, that
so
sounds like fun.
yeah, so you gotta, one thing that I've noticed being in this game, you gotta be in the news. When I mean by the news, I'm not talking about the regular local news. I'm talking about in the digital marketing news daily. What's coming up, what's not coming up. Like for instance, for all the SEOs in the world, people who are doing SEO, Google announced last year that they were doing away with a particular version of Google Analytics. So they have this new thing called GA4. It's the fourth generation of Google Analytics. And yes, it's going to impact stuff. So you got to learn it. And only people that are in the know understand it. If you're not in the know, you're going to miss out on that. So it's always changing. Algorithms change, methods change. You just got to be on top of it. And you know what? Talking about that, Beth, that's when I knew I needed to hire people. By the way, when I saw the switching of how quickly they change, I knew I couldn't do this all by myself, because then instead of buying a business, I bought myself a job. I didn't want to buy a job. I just left the job.
Right. That goes back to controlling what you can and being more thoughtful about what the next steps will be and making that switch worthwhile, right? Like you said, if you're going to be in another job, then was the switch even really worthwhile?
Exactly.
All right. What is one major challenge you faced in the last 15 years?
One major challenge. Just one.
I mean, clearly you could talk about all of them. But usually there's one thing that kind of stands out in the course of creating and setting up a business, and what you look back on as, okay, this was something that was pretty big. And of course you
Yeah.
navigated it to the other side, but what do you think is that challenge for yourself in LBMS?
I was able to navigate through two very tough economical downturns um in this country, or in the world actually. First 2008, and of course as recently COVID. So I wrote this book, 7 Steps to Recession Proofing Your Business, as a result of the first one. So I need to write another one. I should write 7 Steps to Virus Proofing Your Business, or something
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was difficult, because imagine launching a business 2007, and then 2008 collapse hits, and then everyone doesn't have any money for anything. And at that point, I wasn't as a savvy marketer to find the right people to find me to fill up my coaching program, because back then I was doing coaching program. Had it been now, I would have been easy to, because all those people who lost their jobs because of the downturn, and no one had any money, they would have want to learn how to do this stuff themselves for the business. But I wasn't, I wasn't seasoned enough back then to find them. So it was a struggle, but I was able to navigate through it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with struggles, and you've already talked about changing from coaching into more of a, consultative service that you provide.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the progression of those services offered by LBMS, or how much has the landscape changed in this industry?
So when I started doing Done For You, my whole premise for it was all geared towards SEO, because I thought that, well, no one's going to want to do SEO. I figured that eventually some people are going to want to learn how to do Google AdWords, et cetera, et cetera. So, but SEO, who wants to go out there and write blogs and get backlinks and all that? It's nothing sexy about that. So, that was my lead in. But then I changed that to lead into websites, because really, without websites, you can't do SEO anyway. But now I'm morphing more into lead generation, because the bottom line is, without leads, you don't have a business. So leads is the lifeline. So what I mean by lead generation, I'm going more aggressive marketing, like display ads, advertising, multi-channel advertising, Google AdWords, of course, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. A lot of people forget about LinkedIn ads. They work tremendously well as well. They're expensive, but they work well. So everything to do with leads. Then I add some SEO, then I add some more website stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So that's been the way I've been developing the business now.
So as the business development is moving more towards a lead gen sort of avenue, is with that, are other services on the horizon, like potentially what to do with the lead once you get them? Because I know a lot of businesses struggle with, now I have it, what do I do? And
Yep.
Not necessarily the sales piece, but the process in which you move that lead through. Is that something that LBMS has on the horizon?
That's actually in the horizon. I'm actually speaking to a couple of people right now. I've got a couple of people in the hopper to start doing that for me. And we've got a couple of we got a couple of things brewing. It'll probably launch early next year, but my target is to launch it sometime this quarter, which is, we just started the fourth quarter. But so sometime this quarter, I want to maybe have a soft launch and then hard launch it first quarter next year.
Nice.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what do you think makes LBMS stand out amongst our competitors?
Beth Marciano.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. No, seriously, what?
Throw a monkey wrench on there.
Right, there we go.
I love to see my good friend Beth blush, because she just blushed.
And
guys.
I am. Wasn't
So what?
expecting that one.
So what makes me stand out? Let's see. I think because I don't. One of the things, it may sound cliche or not, but I really feel what makes me stand out, or us stand out, is that we partner up with our clients. It's not like, oh, you're my client and that's it. We partner up, meaning we hold your hand through the whole thing. If there is a problem, we're on top of the problem. If there is a, if there's a potential issue happening, we let you know ahead of time. And I think that's the difference. I think because we're a smaller firm than the larger behemoths out there, we're able to pay more attention to your accounts, and I think that that makes us stand out. And of course, I mean, between me and some of the other marketers that we have on staff, it's over like 40, 50 years of marketing experience, digital marketing experience. So
I want to add to that though too. I really do believe that our clients can sense that we are just as equally invested in their business and their outcomes for them, not just, a successful client is great, right? We want businesses to do well. I think when other businesses do well, we all do well as a community. And I think that really does stand out. That's why I like to pull out that local in our name, that local business marketing.
Local business marketing solutions. Yes. All
right. So if I'm not me, I'm not going to go back in time. I don't want to think about this one. If you could go back in time, what is one piece of advice you would have given yourself 15 years
ago? Find a niche that you like to work with and service that niche. That is, I gotta tell you, it's a funny story about that, Beth. I was told that back in 2009, and hard-headed Frank was saying, "Are you kidding me? You're limiting yourself." Mind you, this person who told me this, had multiple successful businesses. And I've paid him, the coach. So I paid him money and I still didn't listen to him. But it took the pandemic for me to realize he was right.
I mean, it is true, right? You perfect your craft by being
perfected
in one lane.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a multi-lane highway, right? But it's one lane that you really need to be in.
If you think about it, Beth, like when you go to a general doctor, right? He's just going to give you some advice. He or she's going to give you some advice here and there. But for more details, they're going to send you to a specialist. So I just got out of my own way, and I started doing exactly what I was taught, and it's so different. It's different conversations you're having. You know exactly what needs to be done to help this client. I think it's phenomenal. I just wish I would have done it back in 2009 when he told me.
So I'm going to see if I can get the keys to that DeLorean and we can, go back in time. And
there you go.
Okay. So 15th anniversary, right? That's what we've been talking about this entire time. It's a big milestone, especially for businesses, right? It's a really big milestone.
And actually, I want to thank you for celebrating with me today because today
Yes.
is the anniversary. I appreciate you taking the time out and doing this.
Oh, thank you. I know the viewers can't see my party hat, but I have a party hat on, so very excited. All right. So again, we've talked a little bit about LBMS and how it first started and the inspiration behind it and where things have gravitated and moved towards and navigating some difficult times. And 15th anniversary is a big milestone. Where do you hope to have LBMS move to at its 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary?
Oh, awesome question. So for the 20th anniversary, 5 years from today, I really feel that we can move into a space of, continue to service the small businesses or just small firms. Right now, we're focusing on law firms. But 5 years from now, we would love to get into larger firms to help with maybe be a consulting arm to those larger firms, giving them the right tools for their marketing departments to do whatever it needs to do. Because if you're not, as we said before, this is a fast moving industry. If they're not on top of it, there's no way they go to as many conferences as we do, because that's all we do is focus on digital marketing. If you have a large law firm that has a marketing department, they normally don't do that. They go out, they do outreach, they go on networking events. That's what they do. But they need a digital marketing partner to consult them. So we're hoping to move into that space, hopefully sooner than 5 years from now, but 5 years from now, definitely. And, if I'm being honest, 10 years from now, maybe even sell the business. Although that's a tough one because I love this thing, but maybe I won't love it 10 years from now.
Or maybe you'll love it so that you're the seasoned consultant for LBMS.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely in the horizon. But I've been thinking about what I want to do next with the business. Now that it's formed decently, how I want to take it 5 years from now. So I'm glad you asked me that question.
Okay, good. Is there anything that you want to share or touch base on in sort of the whole entirety of how you feel celebrating a 15th anniversary? Like, what are some of the, just like quickly just fire off some words that you associate with 15th anniversary?
Elation. I also feel accomplished. And I also, for some reason, the word, and this is going to sound a little weird, but worried.
Okay. I was just going to say, we're all a little weird, but okay, now you have to elaborate on the worried one.
Yeah. Well, it's part of my character, Beth, is worry. I mean, I feel, and I don't know if this is me or every entrepreneur, that if I don't have 3 a.m. thoughts, then it's not worth it. So I'm not saying every morning I wake up at 3 a.m. with these thoughts, but I have these 3 a.m. thoughts of coming up with ideas all the time. And that is a derivative of worry. Why would I be thinking about this stuff unless I'm worried about, and it's like, you worry about making it work for a client. Like, for instance, I've never done criminal law, and there's a criminal law attorney that's interested in our services. So I've never done it, and I was honest with him. I said, "Hey, we've done family law, we've done personal injury, we've done bankruptcy, estate planning, but never criminal law." but it looks like he's willing to give us a shot. So that worries me. But if I don't feel worry, I don't feel like I'm growing. So that's why I said that.
Good points. I mean, right? If you're not at least in that thought process of moving the business forward, you're not in business.
Yeah, you want to feel excited. I always use this analogy, and some people are gonna get it, some people don't. It's like when you're going out on a first date, you're kind of like, you don't know this woman, or if you're a woman, you don't know this guy. You have this little nerve pit in your stomach to see, is he gonna like me? Is she gonna like me? Are we gonna mesh together? Am I gonna say the wrong thing? It's the same thing, when I take on a new client. It's like, okay, criminal law. What are people searching for? What is this? I don't have a funnel, because all the other verticals, I have a funnel set up for it. Okay, boom, let's go. Let's do it. This is how you do it. And here you go. Here's the keys. But now I got to start this over again. So it's like, okay, I got to sit down with the guys. Let's map out a plan. Let's bedazzle these people. This says same thing. Like, go on that first date or the first few dates. It's that same courting thing. So that's always the analogy I use.
I mean, that's a great analogy, right? It is that getting to know you period and the honeymoon period. And, things are usually easily forgiven or a lot of information is flowing back and forth. So
now I'm about to do something that everyone's going to now just click off now on the podcast. I'm going to sing Getting to Know You.
Oh, Lord, I'm clicking off. That's happening. Yes.
Now back to this regularly scheduled program.
Exactly. So you just mentioned accomplished. That was one of the words that you used.
Yes.
What would you consider is your biggest achievement or accomplishment, or what has been the most rewarding since starting LBMS?
Well, think about it. Most small businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Yep.
This is year 15, and Frankie D is still standing. Different business model and everything, but he's still standing. So that's why when, I feel very accomplished.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any advice or words of wisdom that you would want to share with people who are entrepreneurial spirits at heart and, aren't necessarily sure of that next step, or is this the right move for me to make? And, there's a lot of questions that typically come along with, should I do this? Is there any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to bestow upon your audience?
There are two things. If you're thinking about starting a business or you just started one, two things. Number one, don't give up, because the only surefire way of failing is if you give up. And number two, and this is very, very, very important. Associate yourself with masterminds. Associate with yourself with people who are there. Not with other startups. No. People who are smarter than you. If you're the smartest person in the room, get out of that mastermind. So associate yourself with that. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I have spent really nearly over easily about $250,000 on myself. That's between masterminds, coaching, etc. Maybe even more, actually, if I look back. Coaching, masterminds, travel, all that stuff. It's all on working on myself and working on what is best to grow the business. So don't be afraid to do that and associate yourself. Be friendly, make friends. Don't think that everyone's out to get you. I used to think that back in 2007, 2008. I thought if I shared my things with someone that were going to steal it. Are there bad people out there that steal? Yeah. But, get a gut feeling. If you have a gut, everyone has a gut, but get a gut feeling that, whether this person is trustworthy or not, don't be afraid of partnerships. Partnerships really, really help. I know I'm rattling off a lot, but, I think those are the best advice I could give anyone because that's what suited me.
So you're basically saying trust yourself, invest in yourself, and don't worry about, it's not necessarily competition. It could be collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. And another, if I can add one more, have a vision board. I know this sounds corny, but have a vision board. What are you envisioning? And put it where you can actually see it all the time. Whether it's on your laptop page, on your phone, on the walls in your office, wherever that is, you have to see it constantly. Your vision, it will come. May not come when you want it to come.
Right. Be prepared for it when it does, right? Yeah.
But it's gonna come. And that's a fact.
And the only other piece that we haven't quite talked about and touched on, and I think this is important when you are thinking about vision and where do you see the business moving towards in the next 5 to 10 years. You have built a team now, right? Like you started as a solo and now you have a team.
Yes.
How important is it to surround yourself with like-minded and people who understand your vision and effectively communicating that vision?
Yeah, see, now you touched on some stuff there where when I said trust your gut, I mean, you really have to trust your gut because I can tell you a story where I didn't understand what trusting your gut was, and I hired the wrong people who didn't know my vision and understand my vision, or nor did they respect my vision, and handed my vision over to a competitor and all of that. So all of that has come. That's why, I wasn't paying attention to my gut. So building a team was a huge challenge because I couldn't do it all myself. And another advice is if you keep telling yourself, well, if I have to do all this, I might as well do it myself, you're in the wrong space.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's just look at you. And when you started working with LBMS, it was just like, here are my passwords.
Right. Good luck and high scoring. Here you go.
There you go. It was, because it's you have skill. You also often understand this. You have skill sets that I don't have, that I will never have, nor do I want to have. So you got to offset that stuff. So that in growing LBMS and growing the team is I was looking for people with different skill sets that I had, that I had, you know what I mean? Because if we both are running towards the same goal, it's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm. Before we conclude today's session, what should people look for in terms of LBMS or SEO and marketing? Like, why should they want to have services that LBMS offers?
So the digital landscape, as I said earlier, changes quickly, and it's getting more and more competitive. The platforms, like for instance, right now, it's what for lack of a better term, it's kind of like a virgin platform is Hulu. Hulu advertising is awesome. This is a great time to jump on the bandwagon of that. and there'll be others later on. So why should people jump on the LBMS bandwagon? We can bring you those ideas before it gets saturated, you know?
Yep.
I mean, it's good to play in the big boys with Google and all that. You have to be. I'm not discounting that, but you also have to be in those small ones, and you'll see, wow, I'm getting a lot from here, you know. And this other thing I'm getting too, but they'll say, oh, let me think about it. Let me, I'm still talking with other, prospects or whatever. But with this platform, you're almost riding solo because there's only like 4 or 5 people doing it. And if you're in a big market, like say New York or Boston, whatever, 4 or 5 people is nothing.
Agreed. You're not even anywhere near market saturation at that
right.
point.
So, why should they hire us? Because we're always on the cutting edge. We're going to show you exactly where you need to be to stand out a little bit from your competitor. And then when that gets saturated, we'll find you another place. Because we never stop researching. Matter of fact, we're going to Vegas this coming December, to a marketing conference, and that's where we get all our ideas from. Google's going to be there, people from Microsoft, Facebook people are going to be there, and we co-mingle with these people and we get the insights. Then we bring it towards you. We help our customers understand why we want to do X, XYZ, and why is it going to help.
So if people are interested in finding out more, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You know what? I hang out a lot on LinkedIn. I used to give my website out, but it's hard to get me on my website. LinkedIn is the best way of getting. Just go on LinkedIn, look up Frank Deming. You'll see the smiling face.
You certainly will. Well, thank you for taking the time and doing this podcast with me today. I do appreciate it. It's definitely easier being on this side, and I look forward to working with you on what the next 5 to 10 to 15 years holds for us. And as always, I appreciate you.
Well, before we do it, I want to say thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you.
It feels great. And not only that, but thank you for putting LBMS in the 21st century. Because your savviness, your technical acumen is the way I should say it, is what helped me not worry so much about operations, not worry so much about automation and all that stuff. And it helped me get to the other level. So I want to thank you. And I'm looking forward to helping each other in the next 5 years so we can get to that 20th. And you can interview me again in the 20th and say, hey, remember 5 years ago?
Exactly. We were so puppies then. We had no idea.
So thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I look forward to all good things to come.
Amen to that.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.